is a segment we call Discover India, and the idea is just that, to head off the beaten path and discover new driving destinations. This week, I'm off on a road trip to the Chettinad region in Tamil Nadu. Our destination for this quick weekend getaway was Kannadakattan, a small village at the heart of the Chettinad region, roughly 400 kilometers from Chennai. It's an easy half-day trip if you make an early start. So as you can see, I'm doing this trip in a Honda Brio. It's a car that I'm pretty familiar with because I actually own a Brio myself, though it is an automatic. So having got my hands on the manual after a pretty long time, I'm really enjoying it. Having left Chennai at 8 AM, we beat the rush hour traffic out of the city and made good time on the two-lane dual carriageways. After a quick stop for breakfast, the Brio picked up the pace as the highways emptied, but soon it was time for some more fuel, for the driver of course. Now if you've been doing any highway driving in India over the past couple of years, you'd have noticed the growing number of popular coffee joints that have begun to dot the highways. Cafe Coffee Day, Barista, offering you all kinds of coffee. Hot coffee, cold coffee, cappuccinos, espressos, and even in some cases, tea. But here in South India, we take our coffee very, very seriously, and that's why when you drive along any major highway in Tamil Nadu, you'd come to places like this, Only Coffee, where they serve you authentic South Indian filter coffee in these authentic brass tumblers. This is coffee the way it should be drunk. So what if it's 40 degrees in the shade? A good cup of coffee is the fuel you need for a long drive. Having made it to Trichy ahead of schedule, we turned off onto the state highway towards Pudukkottai. But now, having to watch out for oncoming traffic, the pace slowed a bit. But with the sky putting on a spectacular light show to accompany us on our journey, we soon reached the turnoff to Kannadakattan. And entering the village was like stepping back in time. So it's about 4 o'clock and we've made it well in time to the village of Kannadakattan, which is going to be the focal point of our trip into Chettinad. Chettinad itself is made up of around 75 villages, of which Karaikudi is known pretty much as the capital. It is also the most popular village with tourists. But Kannadakattan has always been the seat of power. This is where the Raja of Chettinad's palace is, and this is where we're going to be basing ourselves for the next day and a half. The first order of business was to take the opening picture for the magazine article, and after spending almost an hour looking for the best angle to showcase both the colourful Chettinad Palace and the Brio, we headed out to our hotel, Chettinad Court, to settle in for the night in anticipation of a long second day at Chettinad. The next morning, refreshed after a good night's sleep in the tranquil setting, we set out to explore the village. Now yesterday we saw the absolutely stunning exterior facade of the Chettinad Palace, but the palace is rarely open for public viewing, especially when the Raja's family are in residence. And so today we've come to Chettinad Mansion to get a real idea of what the architecture of this region is all about. This magnificent house, palace, call it what you will, was constructed through a 10-year period between 1902 and 1912. That makes it over 100 years old. It has over 100 rooms, and as you'll see, is one of the most stunning examples of this area's architecture. Now an exclusive heritage hotel, Chettinad Mansion is an eclectic mix of Italian marble, local Athangudi tiles, iron pillars sourced from Sheffield, and lots of Burma teak. The bedrooms on the first floor are full of bright traditional tile work and lots of signature Burma teak furniture. Having got our architecture fix for the day, we headed out to our next destination in the nearby village of Athangudi. Now while the Brio was impeccable on the highway run, it's arguably been even more impressive when I've been driving through these narrow village roads in Chettinad. It's compact yet incredibly spacious in the cabin, and that compact turning circle is really useful when you're navigating through narrow village roads. And everyone, and I mean everyone who stepped into this car here in Chettinad, has been really impressed with the amount of space there is for people to sit. I'm 6'8" tall. I'm sitting here very comfortably in the driver's seat, and it is actually possible to seat 3 people in the back with lots of comfort. Okay, you are trading off a little bit of luggage room in the boot for that, but when you can seat 5 people in what is ideally a city runabout, that's pretty good. A lot of the beautiful tile work that you see at these fabulous mansions in Chettinad are handmade in this very small village of Athangudi, in artisanal workshops, mom and pop shops like this one. Let's just go in and take a look at how it's done. Each of these colorful tiles are made by hand, using methods that haven't changed for almost a century. The demonstration at Ganesh Tiles, one of the many such factories in the region, gave us a good idea of the intricate process. From using glass bases to give them the signature mirror finish, to how the dyes are poured in to create the swirling patterns, and the last stage of the process, the finishing with a mixture of cement and sand. Impressed? A single souvenir will cost you between 50 to 100 rupees. Watching the tile making process was hungry work, so we sped back to Chettinad Mansion for the highlight of the trip, a traditional Chettinad lunch. Since this leaf is not going to be in a particularly good state once I start eating, let me quickly run you through everything here. So we have a traditional rasam kind of soup, we have vegetable biryani, chicken curry, mutton masala, that's the part I'm most excited about, 3 different kind of vegetables including a potato curry. We have a vegetable cutlet and some papad, and that's just the main course. We've still got dessert to come. Time to eat. Well, I'm almost at the end of 2 very restful and informative days here at Chettinad. Tomorrow morning, I'm ready to hit the road to head back to Chennai. But before we sign off on this edition of Discover India, here's a quick look at some useful facts and figures that will help you plan a trip to this region.